Hit hard, hit fast, hit often. These few words, uttered by Fleet Admiral William Halsey Jr. during the American naval attack on Japan, have since become bywords in the United States Navy. I doubt William Halsey Jr. could have imagined himself commanding an entire naval fleet, being responsible for more than 50 million square miles of ocean just before his 62nd birthday. Born in Elizabeth, New Jersey in 1888, he was the son of William Halsey Sr., who was a United States naval captain, and he was born with the blood and grit of a United States sailor, which is a unique gift that very few possess. But with this gift, he was able to attend the United States Naval Academy from 1900 to 1904, which is one of the best ways to become an officer in the Navy, and graduated with honors through determination and dedication. Between 1909 and 1934, he commanded 12 naval vessels, and an incident in 1904 gave way to superstition that still lasts today. An unfortunate fire occurred on Friday, April 13th, and with this, Halsey dreaded every 13th of the month, especially if it fell on a Friday, which many today consider an unlucky day. However, all these problems and issues that he might have had in those commands were nothing compared to the weight that was placed on his shoulders in October of 1942 when he was elevated by his superior, Admiral Chester Nimitz, commander of South Pacific Forces. In the civilian world, this can be thought of as being promoted from manager all the way up to CEO. But Nimitz was no fool. Halsey was the best man for the job and needed to be there to ensure American victory in the Pacific. Halsey needed to be in command at Guadalcanal, which was an island just north of Australia, to defeat the Japanese. According to Nimitz, Halsey was a great leader and an expert strategist in his career thus far, but they knew each other back at the Naval Academy when they played football together, so thus they had been lifelong friends. From the book Neptune's Inferno by James D. Hornfisher, a sailor stated when he learned that Halsey was coming to replace Admiral Gormley, he said, "We were elated when we heard the news. It was a shot of adrenaline for the entire command." And this recommendation soon paid off as the United States began pushing back the looming Japanese threat. Arriving at New Caledonia, Halsey immediately enacted change with the living arrangements as he learned that there was no actual buildings or infrastructure present where they could be planning strategies. The mud and dirt had been piling up for ages to the point where walking, it would get all the way up through your shins. And Halsey thought this was unacceptable, and he wanted to ensure his staff had a place to sleep and eat. Halsey's prowess in command was unmatched in ferocity and cool-headedness. Before he assumed command, the United States had lost 5 ships and 1,278 sailors to the Japanese, and retaliated with only 1 Japanese sunk ship. After Halsey assumed command, the losses remained, but they retaliated and fought back and destroyed 2 Japanese capital ships. An interesting topic that has still been debated since the 1940s was Halsey's unwillingness to sacrifice his aircraft carriers. He originally thought that risking them was too large of a risk, and he could not do it, but later found that to be successful in battle, he had to risk and sacrifice his carriers. So unfortunately, sacrifice is essential in victory. However, Halsey was not the perfect man. Like all of us, he made mistakes, but his were different because they cost lives, and which we don't see in the workplace today. If you make a mistake in an office building, you might lose some money, or you may have to restart the project, but you never really see death as a consequence. However, one of these mistakes happened in December of 1944 while Halsey was in command of 3rd Fleet. And in order to pursue a Japanese fleet he had been engaged with for a while, he drove his fleet through a typhoon, which killed 800 people and sunk 3 of his ships. Soon became known as Halsey's Typhoon. He had to avoid this political nightmare with the help of Nimitz, ensuring the bond and trust that these 2 gentlemen had. But isn't that just the essence of war? Sacrificing people's lives for political or geographical gain. And Halsey knew this, but he wanted to ensure peace throughout the world and defeat the Japanese in the Pacific. Admiral Isoroku Yamamoto, the Imperial Japanese commander, had this same goal. So although these 2 men were fighting on opposite nations, on opposite sides of the world, weren't they just 2 sides of the same coin? And like all military commanders we've seen through history, Halsey had his ups and downs. Sometimes he saw victory, and sometimes he saw defeat. But what set Halsey apart was his willingness and determination to chase victory and ensure it no matter the cost. Some see this arrogance, but I see this determination. And with the seeds that Halsey planted while he was in command, sprouted the American victory in the Pacific. Thank you.